Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2025 film The Conjuring Last Rites, and this is directed by Michael Chavez and stars Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson. Ed and Lorraine Warren must confront one more terrifying case that also may have a link to their past. Now I'm going to be honest guys, I wasn't really looking forward to this movie all that much. This is a universe that has 10 movies now, and most of them are just very, very generic and average to me. Now, The Conjuring 1 and 2 are brilliant. I actually prefer The Conjuring 2, to be honest. I think that's such a good sequel. The Conjuring 3 is probably the worst movie in this entire franchise for me. I just hated that film. And with this being the follow-up to that, it kind of just didn't have me expecting too much. Plus all the spin-offs and everything, none of them really stand out to me. Now, Michael Chavez is the director of this film, who was the director of The Conjuring 3, which again made me go in with low expectations. And he also done The Curse of La Llorona, which again is not a great movie. However, he did do The Nun 2, which for me is probably my third favourite movie in this universe after the first two. So I thought maybe he's getting a little bit better there. So I went in with low expectations, but what did I think? Let's get into it. Now, I've got to say, I really like the whole Smurl haunting side of the film that we get here. This is based on true events from the Smurl household that happened in between 1974 and 1989, I believe, although most of this movie takes place in 1986. But just having this family encounter these demons, basically, who are coming into the home, it really had a Conjuring 2 feel about it, which is, again, my favourite in the series, mixed with Oculus. So it's basically this haunted mirror that comes into the house, and that's when all this weird stuff starts happening. And I really like how we explored each of the family members, not all of them, but most of them, and how they had different encounters with this evil spirit. I thought that was a fun way to look at it. It wasn't just going for one family member. Each family member was seeing different things there. But what I really liked about this demon that is in this household is it feels a lot more sinister and evil than some of the demons we've had in the past in these films. Now, what I mean by that is most of these movies are basically just hauntings and ghosts and demons messing with the characters until like the third act, really, where it gets a bit more, a bit more serious, if you like. But from the off here, it feels like this demon is basically wanting to hurt members of this family. And in a couple of instances, we see people have near-death experiences and everything because of what this demon is doing to them. So I really liked how we made it a little bit more evil here, and it felt like that there was more at stake, basically. I mean, you just feel really bad for the family. It's really not fair on them. They just want to get on with life, and their life has been turned upside down, basically, by this mirror that's come into the house. But that's not to say that there isn't any tension-building moments here. It's not all just straight in your face or anything like that. There are scenes where Michael Chavez really does rank up the tension there, especially this one scene involving a phone wire that was being pulled off a certain character. That one gave me the creeps a little bit, but there's a moment in the middle of this film where this demon, you actually see it for the first time, and it feels like a relentless scene where you're waiting for it to slow down, it doesn't, it keeps on coming. And that was like the first instance where it felt like someone was really, really gonna get hurt here, or, you feared for someone on screen, because there was a lot of building and tension, and this scene just goes for it. I was like, okay, this family are really in trouble here. So that's, I really like how Michael Chavez mixed it up a little bit there with tension building scenes and some that are just straight in your face. But I really like the makeup design, the look of these demons in this movie. You get a few different ones here and there. Nice and creative. They look demonic. They look scary. And when they pop on screen, you're like, oh, I don't like the look of that damn thing. But the one I was talking about there that felt like a little bit relentless, that certain demon was definitely the best looking in this movie, and it really feels like it could fit with the other mascots of this franchise, really, like Annabelle and the Nun and everything. And I only wish that we seen more of that demon. Maybe there'll be a spin-off film in future, but every time this damn thing came on screen, that was my favourite part of the entire film. But speaking of the look of the demons and everything, I got to say the whole aesthetic of the film was really nice to look at too. It really takes you back to the time period of the 80s there. And I like the whole vintage look and dull, washed out colours that we sometimes get with the 80s. A lot of movies now really have the bright lights and the colourful decade there, but sometimes there is a less, a more gloomier side to the 80s, really, which is probably more often than not. And this movie kind of does that. I never got tired of seeing the streets of Pennsylvania here, where this Smurl haunting was taking place. Like, every time we come to the exterior of the house, it was just great to look at and took you back to simpler times, really. So yeah, I think they nailed the whole decade down. The movie looked fantastic. Once again, we get great performances here from Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are really the two poles of this movie, along with the hauntings, of course. People come along for that, and these two, really. And they're just really lovable characters. They always have been. They are the stars of this franchise, of course. But I really just feel like I like them because they are the salvation. They are the light at the end of the tunnel for characters in these movies who are in distress, who need their help, and they just feel like shining lights, because basically, but not only that, they feel like a real life couple. The chemistry on screen between these two wonderful actors is nothing short of sensational, really. I mean, if you said they were married in real life, I mean, you would believe it, wouldn't you? So great performances from them again, and they never fail to disappoint with these films. But this film really focuses a lot on Ed and Lorraine Warren's daughter and her boyfriend, who is their soon-to-be son-in-law, basically. And I gotta say, I really like these two characters as well. The film takes a lot of time to help you get to know them, give them personalities, and you just can't help but think that they are two good characters who are basically just wanting the best for each other there. The chemistry between them as well was awesome. I have a bit more to say about them in just a second, but what the movie does to get you on their side and attached to them, it done the job, I thought. I cared about the Warrens' daughter, and there's a lot of moments in this movie where the Warrens are kind of, just worrying about her all the time because she's got her own demons to deal with and everything, literally. So yeah, I like the whole core sort of dynamic between those four, really, and how they were trying to get on in life. Now, one of the main things I hated about The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, is that they make Lorraine Warren some sort of superhero in that movie. She can basically just walk into a place that has been haunted or a crime scene, touch something and see the whole picture, and I hated that. That took me so much out of that movie, and this is one of the sort of things that I was fearing going into this film. I hope they don't do that again, because it's just going to take me straight out of the film. It just seems so stupid and unnecessary. And thankfully, Michael Chavez did not do that again. So I just want to say thank you for not doing that. There is one moment where there's a little expedition dump of something that she believes may be happening. Yeah, but we don't see her feeling the crime scene or anything like that, like the fucking T-1000 in Terminator 2 where he's looking for John Connor or anything. None of that. So yeah, I'm just glad that they never put that in, and we've moved on from that silly little sub-story plot, if you like. However, guys, I do have some negatives with this film, and weirdly, some of these are kind of attached to the positive, which gives this a very mixed feelings type of movie. Now, we have two stories going on here. We have the whole Smurl haunting side of things, and then we have this whole story involving Ed and Lorraine Warren's daughter, Judy, who I just spoke about before, and her fiance, Tony, basically. And she's got, she's seeing things and everything like that. She's getting haunted and stuff. But the whole Smurl side haunting of the movie is definitely the most interesting. It's nowhere near as interesting when we're following Judy and Tony. And I do like the Warrens, but it focuses a lot on the daughter. And the problem with that is they are given more screen time. It feels like the Smurl haunting is kind of 30% and 70% is focusing on the Warrens and their daughter, basically. And yeah, I just really wanted to see more of the Smurl haunting. That was the most interesting part of the film. They were the more scarier scenes, the more creepier, the ones with the best demons and everything. And every time we went to this, I didn't mind it. It was just inferior to the other side of the story that was going on there. Now, a big problem I got with this is, even though there's kind of a through line here that tries to connect these two stories, which I appreciate, because it's no point doing two different stories that don't mean anything. It felt like we were given more screen time, and I might be wrong when I say this, it felt like we were given more screen time to Judy and Tony for future Conjuring movies. Now, a lot of people have been saying this is the last one with the Warrens and everything like that, but it feels like they are putting an insurance policy in there to have another movie that involves them two. Now, I might be totally wrong with that, because it doesn't exactly see them doing all paranormal investigations or anything, but that's what it felt like to me, because this is a franchise that makes absolute bank. It still does 10 movies now, so that proves it. Even the spin-offs do very well, and that's just a feeling I got. And when we do kind of get the two stories knitting together, I gotta say, even though it kind of works a little bit, it feels mostly forced when it gets to the third act there. It doesn't feel like a movie that should, or two stories that should absolutely come together. The movie just tries to make it work there and tries to mend it together as best as it can. I gotta say, even though there's a lot of good tension building in this movie, this is another negative that's attached to the positive, which I really like what Michael Chavez done here, building up the tension and everything. The execution isn't very good. The scares, the jump scares, I telegraphed every single one of them. There wasn't one moment where I jumped out my seat. Now, casual horror fans may go to this and be scared out of their wits, and that's not me being pretentious. This is just the truth. I watch a lot of horror movies. I've seen like 50 this year, I think, just that were released this year. I see a lot, okay? I've been watching horror all my life. I can see when the jump scare is coming. Like I said, that's not me sounding pretentious. It's just me as a horror fan. And casual audience members may, be terrified of this. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, I just seen every one of them coming, and they felt very, very generic, and we'd seen all this before, especially with this franchise. Also, considering this is a very long film, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes, there's a lot of build-up here, lots of character development, lots of tension building, and it all builds to then two stories, sort of trying to meet in the middle there. It felt very much of a letdown when we get to the third act, because that third act just does all of the horror tropes I hate, especially in demonic possession movies and everything, and ghost haunting supernatural films, which is why I kind of have this subgenre lower down compared to slashers and stuff. There's doors being slammed, noises that are just coming out the screen as loud as they can to try and make you jump, stupid demonic voices that aren't scary, demons fighting with people, just feels like more of an action movie. Staircases flying everywhere, houses being ripped apart. You've seen it all before. And while it might all look good on the screen and everything, it just does nothing for me. I don't think we needed this big, gigantic, over-the-top, big-budget third act. You could have done this in a different way, and a much more creepier way. When it got to that point, I was like, yeah, this movie's fizzling out for me now. Also, do we have to throw Annabelle in there? I know she's the biggest mascot in this franchise, and that's what these movies are kind of known for. But, man, do we seriously have to appear in every damn film? However, guys, I gotta say, I was a little bit surprised by how much I liked it compared to what I didn't think I was going to like it. I will say this, it's way better than the third movie. Okay, and I've got to say, it's probably in the top 5 movies in this universe so far. But I didn't absolutely love it, but it was better than I thought it was going to be. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give The Conjuring Last Rites a 6 out of 10. Not bad. I mean, it probably would have been a 7, but when we got to that third act, yeah, dropped it a little bit there. But overall, it was a decent watch. Okay, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for The Conjuring Last Rites is that this is actually the longest running film in this entire 10 movie series at 2 hours and 15 minutes. Hey guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. If you want more 2025 horror movie reviews, I'll leave them in the link down below. Don't forget to leave your comments and let me know what you thought of The Conjuring Last Rites. Am I being too harsh with the 6 out of 10 there? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Please do let me know and I'll get back to you all, I promise. Thanks so much, guys. You all take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.